So today I'm going to show you how to turn any art from Procreate or any art that you have hand drawn and scanned into a file that you can work on Illustrator so you can create any logo for your client. That way you can change the colors and you can add any font. So today we're going to use one of my good friends, Chloe's art. I will add her social media onto the profile so you can check out all her work. So the first step is to show you this is the art she created for her client. The problem here is that is a JPEG because she drew it in Procreate. And the problem too is that she has so much detail we don't want to lose this detail. There's so much grays and blacks and whites. So in Illustrator, once you put the font, you can change the color of the font anyway. But once you click on the actual art, you can't change that color. So that's a problem for a client that gives this file to her printer or somebody that's going to make signs, because now there might be a chance that they might recreate it and lose all that detail. So to avoid all that, there's a couple steps that you can do to make this a workable file and change the colors. An easier step is to do it here in Illustrator, which you could do it if you don't have that much detail on your art, like this art does, because if you do it this way, image trace, okay, you're going to lose a lot of that detail. It just turns it into a one color, loses the grays and the whites. So you don't really want to do that unless it's just a one color art. Then you can do it. Okay, so the first step is to open it up, your scan on Photoshop. So let's go to Photoshop. And the first step to do is to merge these. So Command E to merge. The next step is to size it. So a good sizing is 300 dpi, and I usually size it to anywhere from the width from 15. Actually, before we do this, I like to crop it. So let's crop it to where it's usable. And now we're going to size it. So image size 300. I like to do it anywhere from 15 to 20, just because you get that detail. You're going to get all this detail. And if you do it at a smaller size, you're going to lose all this detail. So the next step is to do grayscale, discard, bitmap. So here's the fun step. So you can do, there's different ways you can do it. I wouldn't advise to do this with a lot of detail, but because it's going to do the same thing as Illustrator. It's just going to mess up all the detail and create it into a one color. So you don't want to do that. What you want to do is either do diffusion or half tone screen. I personally like half tone screen. Once you choose that, something this detailed, I would do 300, but I usually go anywhere from 100 to 300. So today, let's do 250. So now you can see that all that detail turns into a bitmap. As you zoom out, you get the detailed. So that's one of the steps. So now you created the bitmap, is the size, it's at 15. So the next step is to, usually I work with two screens, so I wouldn't have to do this. But since I'm only using one screen today, my laptop, I'm going to go to Illustrator. Actually, I'm going to go to Photoshop, and I'm going to move it to the side and drag this actual file onto Illustrator. So once you do that, put it back, minimize it, and now you have your art here. So the next step is to size it, to replace it. So what you do is you change, what I do is I change the color. And holding shift, make sure you hold shift, size it to the same size you have the JPEG. And again, you can do this before you even create the font and all that. I'm just doing it this way because the file was created before by Chloe. So I'm just showing you a way you can merge both of them into, okay, so now you delete the old file, unlock, make sure you delete not the new file, but make sure you delete the JPEG one. So now, the cool thing about this, now that you have the font and the lotus separated, you can change the color of the lotus now. And now you can grab the font and change the color of that to whatever you want. Today we're just going to use black and white. So now you can just save it into AI and save a PDF. Those are the files that you would send to your client for them to send to whoever is going to print it or make a sign or however they're going to use it. Oh, next step too. Sorry, I forgot this. If you sent a file without creating outlines, the person who gets this file is not going to see this font like this. They're just going to see a default font. So you would want to type create outlines. So now you highlight all of it, Command G, so you group it. So now you can press it once and it changes everything. So now you save it onto an AI or a PDF, and that should work. I usually do PDF because a lot of people don't have the newest Illustrator, and if you don't have the newest Illustrator, then it might be a problem to open it or saving it. So you send it to your client. If you really want to impress or take a next step so your art doesn't get all messed up by either the client or whoever takes it from the printer, you want to create a layout. So here I created a layout that has all the info. So you put icon logo, it has the icon logo, it has the icon and script logo together so they know which one is which. So if your client wants to make shirts and they want the icon script in the front and the icon logo in the back, they tell the printer, I want the icon logo on the back at 3 inches. I want the script logo on the front at 8 inches wide. And then now the printer or whoever's printing it knows which one's which. Also, I like to add the script, the font that I use, so that way if the printer has any problems or something is misspelled, they can change it by knowing which font they have. I also like to add the main colors. Usually I like to use PMS, Pantone colors, but on this one it's just black and white, so we just use white C and black C. There's no difference between that. I do this file just, you look a little bit more professional and your client doesn't have any really problems when they give it to the printer. The cool thing about this is that now that it's an Illustrator file, you can zoom in and out as much as you want and not lose the detail. So if it needs to be big, create big, they can make it big, whatever size they want. Also, this is not how it's gonna look because it looks really pixelated. So to see how it's gonna look when it's printed, you can go to Object, Rasterize, Transparent at 300 dpi, and then now you can see how it's gonna look when it's printed. So you get your detailed, and you can see that that's how it's gonna finally look. But don't send it like that. So undo rasterize, and that's the file you want to send to your client. So again, this was a cool logo by Chloe. Make sure to hit her up. Make sure to check out her art.